All right, fair use, fair use. It's your brother Walrumya. Back at another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Waha, Kakwadash, Shalaki. Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shah, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shah, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shah. Dumb honors to the apostles, elders, bishops of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 men of the Lord you see on the highways and byways, prophesying in the name and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, also in the correct doctrine. I want to send a shalom to the 1/3 men, women, and children that will escape the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah by their faith. Lord willing, it's an edifying lesson I want to bring out today. As you've seen, things are speeding up. I always say speeding up. I don't know why I say it, but it always seems like something is happening every day when it comes to the prophecy of Babylon the Great being knocked off. So let's get right into it. I got a bunch of videos I want to play here, some scriptures, and Lord willing to be edifying.
The United States and our allies will defend every inch of NATO territory. Russia must urgently stop such dangerous behavior. At a time when President Trump and the United States has been focused and spent an enormous amount of time and effort to end this horrific war between Russia and Ukraine, we expect Russia to seek ways to de-escalate, not risk expansion. This event, following on the heels of the Russian drone incursion into Polish airspace, creates the impression that Russia either wants to escalate and pull more countries into this conflict with Ukraine, or doesn't have full control of those who operate its fighter planes and drones. So either scenario is very disconcerting, given that Russia is obviously a nuclear power with global reach. And so I once again urge Russia as a permanent member of this council to uphold international peace and security, to respect the sovereignty of its neighbors, to cease violating their airspace, and I call on Russia to negotiate directly with Ukraine to end that war.
And see, Babylon is used, Ukraine, Taiwan, and all these small nations as proxies against these major countries to try to force them to, basically forcing them to try to basically weaken these bigger nuclear nations like China and Russia, not thinking that Russia will come against them. And see, that's the trick bag that the Lord has Babylon the Great in, because Russia is been turned back to that bear, and they're ready to fight, man. And this is all biblical prophecy. So you should see through the scriptures that the Lord is making all these moves on the earth for our behalf, man. For Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah to come back. So continuing on, man, you're going to see that this is the Lord's hand being shaken over Babylon the Great, because it's going to be too many war fronts for one nation. It don't matter what nation it is, to fight 10, 12 different fronts. It's going to be impossible, because you will be stretched too thin. And that's what the Lord is doing to Babylon the Great.
So Poland just threatened Russia at the United Nations Security Council, saying that if another Russian aircraft, drone, or missile enters NATO airspace, there's going to be a problem. Here we go.
I have only one request to the Russian government. If another missile or aircraft enters our space without permission, deliberately or by mistake, and gets shot down and the wreckage falls on NATO territory, please don't come here to whine about it. You have been warned. Thank you.
Now, that was the Polish Foreign Minister Sikorski again at the United Nations Security Council earlier today, but he also had a message to the Russian people saying, we know what you're doing. You're failing. Stop. There you go.
The representatives of Russia, I have this to say. We know you don't care for international law and you are incapable of living in peace with your neighbors. Your insane nationalism contains a lust for domination that will not cease until you realize that the age of empires is over and that your empire will not be rebuilt. Every drone strike by the heroes of the armed forces of Ukraine, may God bless them, brings this day closer. Your 3-day special military operation can't even conquer Donbass for 10 years now.
And see, he's talking real. The Polish president, speaking real greasy against the bear, not thinking he's going to be on his own. He's thinking because he is in NATO, he's going to have that backing. So he's talking real strong that he is able to go against Russia with no nuclear missiles. And this is not a fight that's going to be fought with hand-to-hand combat, because he was saying you can't even take down Donbass, which is in the Ukraine. And that's the reason why they're puffed up, because they feel like this is going to be a hand-to-hand combat and the nations are going to be able to hold their own. But the Lord said this is not going to be a hand-to-hand combat war. This is right here, Isaiah 9:5, it says, every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. See, this war is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. That's why all Russia talks about is setting up their nukes. That's all they talk about, man, sending the nukes. This is not going to be a hand-to-hand combat fight, as the scripture said. It's not going to be a war that you're going to be able to fight and go back and refuel your jets. And no, man, it's going to be a thermonuclear missile, man. It's going to be shot off. And who hit the button first is who's going to win. And we know the Lord is in control of those missiles, man. So this is the determination against Babylon the Great. But these other nations are going to get it too. And I can't say every nation is going to be hit like how Babylon the Great is. We know Babylon the Great is going to be utterly wasted. But these other nations are going to be touched as well, man. Continuing on.
Estonia's government says 3 Russian military jets entered NATO airspace without permission on Friday morning and stayed there for nearly 12 minutes. In a statement on X, a NATO spokesman said NATO responded immediately and intercepted the Russian jets, which had violated Estonian airspace, adding this is yet another example of reckless Russian behavior and NATO's ability to respond. The foreign minister of Estonia said the incident was the most brazen violation yet of its airspace and the 4th this year.
So that goes to show you that Russia is running tests, what you call them, reconnaissance missions, to get prepared for strikes. Because just like he said that they shouldn't enter into their airspace, Trump gave the green light for the whole NATO. If Russia enters into your airspace, shoot them down. Now, DT he really doesn't know about military actions, and you could tell by him just talking proudly and boastfully about military actions, not knowing or thinking it through what this really means, because he feels like what he's been taught, that Babylon the Great has this great army and it can never be defeated. And see, that is a great trap the Lord has him in, to think he cannot be defeated. If he sends any war, if he goes to war against any nation, he feels like he never will be defeated. And that's a trap, man, because the Lord set Babylon the Great up to be utterly wasted. And this is going to be a war that ends all wars, man. And DT has no clue. This is the war to end all wars. Let's continue on.
This event that's about to take place may be the largest gathering of generals that's ever gotten together in U.S. history. Apparently on September 25th of 2025, the U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth issued an order summoning hundreds of senior military officers, including generals and admirals from the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and Space Force for a closed-door meeting at Marine Corps Base Quantico in Virginia. Apparently the meeting is supposed to be scheduled for Tuesday, September 30th of 2025, 2025, and it applies to all officers that are the rank of brigadier general or higher, and all of their top senior enlisted advisors as well. Estimates of attendees are varying currently, but some reports are citing that there could be nearly up to 800 participants, including staff, even though senior leaders appear to be somewhat unaware of the full scope or purpose of this thing. Even officers that are currently in active conflict zones are expected to attend this meeting, which makes me think that something urgent is happening. Now, the Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell confirmed the event, stating that, quote, the Secretary of War will be addressing his senior military leaders early next week, end quote, but provided no further details on the agenda. Now, something I think is very interesting is that a very senior Pentagon correspondent with 30 plus years of experience described it as an unprecedented event in their career, saying, quote, I've never seen anything like this. We might be going to war, end quote. Now, the lack of stated agenda has fueled further speculation and unease from a lot of people, with one anonymous source telling the Washington Post that, quote, people are very concerned. They have no idea what it means, end quote. Now, from what folks have said, the last time this many senior officers and leaders got together was during the Goldwater-Nichols Act of 1986, which totally restructured the entire military command, but nobody's saying anything about what's actually going to be discussed yet. So believe me, when I find out, I will keep you guys updated, because this is huge.
So this is like you said, unprecedented, man. Something that doesn't happen often, man. Rarely happens that he gets all his military generals and higher ups in the military. What he said, 800 and some odd generals and lieutenants, all the top people. I don't know about the military, but you see what I'm saying? It's the top men that's in the that controls Babylon's military. And they grabbing all of them from all different nations, not different nations, but that are in different nations. All the ones that's in war areas, that's controlling the army in those areas, they all have to come back for next week, man. Which next week is going to be a government shutdown. They said that they should prepare for a lot of layoffs and firing next week, man. So you're seeing this thing brewing up to have a great fall, man. And this is going to be a time like never before, as we've been telling you through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that this is it, man. This is it. And I was trying to find out where did I think I just posted it about this gonna be a time like never. Not it didn't say a time like never before, but about the. Let me see if I can find it. The government shutdown. Yeah, White House. This is off my IG. It says White House tells agencies to prepare for mass layoffs ahead of potential government shutdown next week. So they're supposed to be meeting next Tuesday, and it's supposed to be a shutdown next week as well. And the DT was saying prepare for it to be shut down for a while. So all these job layoffs, and man, this is going to cause a lot of people to go and pretty much protest, man. Because a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, these government jobs, man. These women that control all these different departments, the child support and your food stamps and all of that, man. Social Security. A lot of people lose a lot of jobs, man. They said mass layoffs, man. But war is what we're talking about today, man. So let's get straight to this video. Oh, this is the point. Russia flew warships into Alaska today after DT said that Ukraine should go ahead and shoot down, the NATO should shoot down military planes. It won't play, so let me get it back. Let's see. All right, let's.
Breaking news coming out in the past couple of hours of U.S. airspace under threat. As take a look at the latest headlines coming out today, September 25th, 2025. Fighter jets scramble to intercept Russian warplanes near Alaska. Here's another one coming out past couple of hours. U.S. fighter jets scrambled to intercept Russian warplanes near Alaska. NORAD tracks Russian bombers near Alaska in international airspace, and Russian bomber fighter jets intercepted near Alaska. And again, this coming out today, September the 25th. Past couple of hours, we're seeing this developing. I'm going to get you the latest on this. Now, they're saying this poses no threat, but this is a very heightened environment that we live in. And this comes as, take a look, you'll recall in the last roughly 48 hours, Waltz warns that Putin to Trump he says Trump is not messing around, and he calls for people to shoot down Russian aircrafts in NATO airspace. And what's going on today? We're seeing Russian aircrafts near U.S. airspace. Take a look at this. Shooting down Russian jets is on the table. Von der Leyen says Europe is at war with Russia, whether it likes it or not. We're hearing that war is unfolding here, and things are pretty tense. And this is a tense environment to have Russian warplane bombers flying just kind of near the U.S. border. And what we've been hearing is a lot of these airspace violations that have been taking place. Europe is vocalizing, this is not by mistake. This is not by accident. This is Russia probing, seeing where can we get away with it? Where is the weak point? Where don't they notice? So that way we can prepare for our next attacks. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think that this going on today, now they're saying it's not a threat, it's been observed, but do you think that this is concerning for the United States?
So what Russia did after Trump gave the goal, basically the thumbs up to shoot down Russia's airplanes, they tested them the next day. At with the UN Security Council, he told Zelensky to go ahead and shoot them down, and NATO as well, because it was one. I forgot exactly who it was, but he said 10-4. Like he got the message, and this is his NATO ally. So Russia turns around today and sends aircraft close to to Alaska to test if he's really about what he says he's about, man. So you're seeing the beginning of a hot war in World War III, man. Now, China is not talked about as much in war. It's only Russia. Russia is the big bad, the boogeyman. But China is going to fully back Russia if anything happens and they go to war. And China is well prepared for a war with any nation. And this is strategically set up this way because the Lord put in the minds of the Moab to be the wash pot over Esau, man. So he just got Moab in the background because Moab is going to play a big part in the destruction of Babylon the Great, man.
Did you notice? The scariest weapon in China's parade wasn't a tank or a missile. It was what every soldier wore on their wrist. A sci-fi looking smartwatch. At first, foreign viewers swore it had to be CGI. But no, this was real. These weren't watches. They were battlefield terminals, linking every soldier, from tank drivers to even the cooking unit, into one massive network. Real-time data, instantly shared across the entire force. This isn't just one breakthrough, it's full integration. Every soldier becomes a data node, and that level of coordination puts even the US military 2 steps behind. Here's the kicker. This tech wasn't just for show. It's already been deployed for years. No wonder foreign media called it Star Wars level warfare. Think about it. Decades ago, China built an atomic bomb with abacuses. Today, every soldier carries an intelligent terminal. That's not a comeback. That's a game changer. And the same speed you see in defense, you also see in China's supply chains. Fast, scalable, global. I'm here on the ground if you're curious. The future is being built here.
And see, they have the technology and the weaponry that surpasses Babylon the Great on all levels. They have prepared to fight Babylon the Great. And they've been preparing for many, many years, which, like I said, they don't bring up China like that. But this is one of the reasons why DT wanted to get the Bagram Air Base back in Afghanistan, because it's close to where China builds its nuclear missiles. Now, China got some shit that's far beyond what's ever been put on the world stage. And that's why that parade was so huge, because the weaponry they have can't be touched by any nation. Now, this guy, he knows about China's basically power, military might, and he's going to express it. And nothing Babylon the Great has is going to surpass or even come close to what they have.
One of the weapons China demonstrated is a missile with all the warheads. We call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. No country in China's neighborhood is a match against China in terms of military power. China's military buildup is a matchup against only one country, that is the United States. China will never allow the United States to launch a war against China, conventional or nuclear, without suffering devastating consequences. If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very serious. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. That's why, while I'm pained to see the confrontation between China and the Philippines in the South China Sea, I also feel blessed that they are only using water cannons against each other. Make no mistake, China has more lethal things than water cannons.
See that? See how boastful he's speaking? They got more things than a water cannon. But with Revelations 9 about the millions of missiles, this is why you see the scriptures say there's going to be millions of missiles, man. 60 nuclear warheads in one missile with an atomic bomb, man. A hydrogen bomb, he said. And just imagine how many they got. And see, the way the Lord had them to put in their spirits to build up this unstoppable force of military might to come against Babylon the Great, man. Now, it's another video I'm gonna play. Like I said, I ain't gonna hit too many scriptures because because we've been through this several times talking to apostles and elders. But I'm gonna hit some scriptures. But I'm not gonna play this whole video, but I'm gonna hit a little bit of it because it's the same guy. He's speaking boastfully about the military might of Moab, man. And Moab is going to back Russia in any conflict they come into, man. And this is not even talking about what Russia got. This is just talking about what Moab got. So just imagine this military might and these two superpowers coming together, man. And this is why the nations are going to see that we need to be on the side of these Moabites and these Russians, man. Because they have technology and weapons that no other nation has and no other nation can stop.
China now enjoys military superiority above the United States. Now, the Americans may not agree with me, but when you look at the conventional weapons as well as nuclear weapons, China is not next to the United States. China is actually ahead of the United States. This is very profound, and it will take time to sink in. But that leads to a very important next question. That is, whether the United States wants to pick up a war against China. Let me tell you, as I mentioned, inevitability of peace between China and the United States. Does that mean the United States will not kind of challenge China? No, they will continue to challenge China. Do you know through what means? Through using proxies. They want to turn the Philippines into a proxy. They want to push the Philippines to the forefront, to instigate a war between China and the Philippines in the South China Sea, and the United States hides in the background, and it does not suffer any casualty. The casualties will be either the Chinese on the Chinese side or the Filipinos on the Filipino side. That would be very, very dangerous. There is another potential proxy. That is the separatists in Taiwan. The Americans want to push the separatists in Taiwan to the forefront to instigate a war between the two sides of the Taiwan Strait. Now, other than that, I don't think any general or admiral in Washington will really go in that direction of instigating a direct war with China. Because, let me share with you, after the Korean War, it is a consensus in Washington that the United States does not want to fight a ground war with China anymore. They are sickened by the casualties suffered by the Americans on the Korean Peninsula, because they learned the lesson in the Vietnam War, and Philippines was very much involved in the Vietnam War because the Americans used the Philippines as the naval base, as the air base, etc. China said, don't cross parallel 17. Let me tell you, the Americans never crossed above the parallel 17. China drew a line, and the Americans didn't move 1 inch above parallel 17. That was in the 1960s. That was in the 1970s. Now, allow me to share with you. If you watch the aerial battle between the Pakistanis and the Indians, and I know both of them very well, they both talked about Victor Gao as being very influential when I talked with them on Indian TV and on Pakistani TV. Listen, the Indians suffered losses. President Trump said 6 of your planes were shut down, or even 7, and Pakistani didn't suffer any loss. Do you know why? Because Pakistanis now are very advanced vis-a-vis the Indians, because they use all the military equipment either exported by China to Pakistan or jointly produced between China and Pakistan, to such an extent that India is very much disadvantaged. Why? Because the Pakistanis have learned from the Chinese cooperation that they need to integrate what I say, the space, the sky, that is the Air Force, the ground, that is the Army, and the surface water, that is the Navy, and the submarine, 5 dimensions integrated into one seamless fighting dimension, aided and enabled by information technology and AI. So the Pakistanis now can see further than the Indians, and their missile can shoot further than the Indians. The Indians could not see the incoming planes on the Pakistani side.
So basically, just going into the China back to Pakistan, the Pakistanis, or however you want to say them, they pretty much helped them with the technology they have to be able to fight the Indians with the way more strategically than the Indians were. And the Indians were pretty much just like Babylon the Great and Russia, because Russia sold them a lot of their weapons. But the point he's making is China is behind their military might as well, man. Pakistan and China is pretty much about it on the hip. And that's another ally that is going to be backing the Chinese, man. So this military might that they have is set up to come against Babylon the Great, man. Which all those nations don't spend as much money as Babylon does, but their weaponry is way more advanced. And this goes to show you that the money that they spend is basically just to, it's paper. I mean, it's pretty much like what DT was saying, a paper tiger. Because you got all this, you spend all this money on paper, you don't, compared to all the other nations, you spend all this money, but the money that you're spending is not able to protect you from your destruction. And a lot of that money is used for different things. They just put it in the military budget to pass it through. And see, the time is coming where that's not going to matter. You're gonna have to put your weaponry to the test. And they're gonna be stretched too thin. So let's get right into it. This is Jeremiah 51 in verse 5. It says, "For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power." And that's plain, man. So the Lord said he was going to redeem us, and that's what he meant, that's what he said, and that's what's gonna happen. It says of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai's vengeance, and we at the time of the Lord's vengeance, and that's against Babylon the Great. He will render her, Slaki, he will render unto her a recompense. See that? A payback for what he did to the children of Israel, man. So what he did to us wasn't a light thing, man. It's going to get you judged by the Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. He says, verse 7, it says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And see, these nations that are joined to Babylon the Great, they think that they're going to have a big backing and they're going to be protected, and they're going to come to find out they are not able to help them, man. They're going to be on their own because they're going to be stretched too thin, man. Babylon is suddenly falling and destroyed. See, those missiles that China have, they can reach anywhere in 20 minutes, man. 16 warheads, nuclear warheads, and then a hydrogen bomb. That's a lot of military might, man. And you best believe it's not going to be one that's sent off, man. So this place is going to suddenly fall, man. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon. See that? If the Lord wanted this place to continue on, he would have healed it. You on the cusp of a financial collapse, man. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own land, his own country. For her judgment hath reached unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky. See that? The judgment the Lord's going to bring on this place is already in place, man. The Lord is already before the Lord, man. And you seeing the things being put in place for that judgment to happen. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai have brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, our power. So that's what we're telling our people, man. We're telling you exactly what the Lord is doing on our behalf, man. We're declaring this in Zion, man. You children of Israel, man. You blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans on your father's side, man. We're declaring you, this is what the Lord is going to do to Babylon the Great for what they did to us. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. And the Medes are the modern day Russians, man. For her device is against Babylon. So that's the reason why the Lord raised up the Russians, man. Because her device is against Babylon. To destroy it, man. Because it is the vengeance of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, the vengeance of his temple. And see, this is for the Lord is doing this for the children of Israel, man. The Lord is going to redeem the children of Israel, man. NLT. Sharpen the arrows, lift up the shields, for Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai has inspired the kings of the Medes to march against Babylon and destroy her. So what the Lord says is going to happen, is going to happen. You can't change the Lord's mind. You can't change what is written. This is his vengeance against those who desecrated his temple, man. So they thought it was a light thing to make us niggers and spics and make all this different names and pretty much abuse us in his captivity, in this captivity, and thinking it wasn't going to come of it, man. Nothing was going to happen to him for what he did. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai has stirred, good news translation, it says, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai has stirred up the kings of the Mede because he intends to destroy Babylonia. That is how he will take revenge for the destruction of his temple, meaning the people, man. This is how the Lord going to take revenge on Esau, man. The attacking officer command, sharpen your arrows, get your shields ready. So this is what's being prepared, man. That's why he's calling all these these high level military men back to America to get them prepared for war, man. This is something that was never done, has not been done at a level like this in a long time, man. I forgot exactly what he said, how long ago. But this ain't been set up to do this in a long time, man. So this is something that's just happened because of it. I can't say for a fact. I don't know. But I think because the next day Russia flew those jets in the territory of Babylon the Great, man. And then all of a sudden, all these men have to come back and go to this meeting, this high level meeting. So things are about to hit the breaking point, man, of this World War III. This is Isaiah 13 and verse 17. It says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces." That's talking about those missiles, man. "And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children." See that? They're not going to spare because you got a newborn baby here in Babylon the Great. You ain't repented to the Lord. They're not going to spare, man. They're not going to have any pity. This is written. And we know it's a destruction because the next verse, 19, it says, "And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when power overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah," man. And we know what happened during Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord rained fire from heaven. Same thing the missiles are going to do. They're going to be rained down from heaven. The same exact thing, man. See, what we have been blessed to know is what these people are running around thinking a rapture coming and all this madness that they learn in Christianity. They want to know what we know. But the Lord blinded them from it, man. Because the Lord has his elect to be taken up. Not everyone else, man. Not even all the Israelites are going to make it. Verse 20 says, "It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation." 20 minutes. That man said that there was, that was the caption. 20 minutes, and those missiles could hit anywhere in the world, man. And the Lord said, in 1 hour, this place is never going to be inhabited again from generation to generation, man. "Neither shall the Arabians pitch tent there." So all these different stores, these little Arabian stores that they make money off us, it's not going to be never again. "Neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come." And that's what we're telling you, man. It's not a far way off. It ain't 30, 40 years, 20, 30, all that, man. It's coming faster than that. The Lord will put the spirit on the Medes to get ready to attack. "Her days shall not be prolonged." See that? It's not going to be prolonged, man. So we know the MOTB is very close, man. It might hit after next week when this government shut down. It might be the turning point to bring in the MOTB, because we see the Medes are stirred up, as the scripture said the Lord would do to them. And they're ready to fight, man. As DT told those nations to shoot them down, not buy oil from them, basically cripple their economy, and then basically said the economy is trash. And man, a bully always can talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say everybody done seen Friday. Everybody was scared of Debo until he got knocked out. Everybody was scared of Debo until he got hit and beat up. Everyone feared him. So it's no different than these world leaders, man. They talking real reckless. All these nations, man, talking real reckless, man. So we know the time is very, very close to all out war, man. This is Jeremiah 50, start at verse 9. I want to start at 8, but I'll start at 9. It says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations." And we see that those nations are already being put in place. Because just because NATO has a group of nations, you got China, Russia, Pakistan, Iran, North Korea, Belarus, Hungary, and these just nations. Turkey gonna flip as well, man. It's in the scriptures. It's in Ezekiel 38. So these assembly of great nations, you can read in Ezekiel 38, man. So this shows you that the Lord is doing exactly what He said He was going to do through His word, man. It says, "Assembly of great nations from the north country," and those nations that is coming with Russia is a great. Let me get that just to hit the point. And I'll come right back. I get it in the blue letter. Ezekiel 38. These assembly of great nations, right here. The north. Let me start at Ezekiel 38 verse 4. It says, "And I will turn back and put hooks into thy jaws." Let me go over one. He says, "And say, Thus said Yahweh Shem Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws." He's talking about the Russians. "And I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armory, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." See, all of these nations having these missiles, man, these thermonuclear missiles, man. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmet. Gomer and all his bands in the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So these nations, I done broke it down before. You can just pull up a map and you can put Ezekiel 38 map in and it'll pull up, man. You can see the regions of all these nations. That's all you gotta do is pull up the Ezekiel 38 map. But just for the sake of time, I know I pretty much went over the time I wanted. I didn't really want to go no more than about 30, 40 minutes because people don't watch it that long. But the point is, these northern countries are coming, join with Russia. See, the way they put it on the news, like NATO has so many more members with them than these other nations that have nuclear power. And a lot of these NATO nations are small nations with no nuclear weapons. You got France, Great Britain. I don't even know if Germany got nukes. But the point is, these nations are going to be with the Medes, man. Verse 9, one more time, it says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north quarter, the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken." See that? "Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man." See that? These missiles they're speaking about, man. Even Pakistan has these missiles that not Russia, but China helped them basically put together, man. "None shall return in vain." See, these arrows they're going to be shooting, they're going to hit where the Lord wants them to hit, man. "And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, said Yahweh Shem Yahushua. See, every nation that shoots a missile on Babylon the Great is going to be satisfied. They're going to be happy of destroying Babylon the Great. Continuing on, verse 11, it says, "Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O destroyer of my heritage." See, you was happy that you took down the Israelites. You You was to the point that you never let these people be prosperous in your rulership. You held them down, man. You destroyed the Lord's people and you took his land. So you was prideful against Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Because you have grown fat as an heifer at grass and bellow as bulls, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bear you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. And that's the judgment of the Lord, man. Because of the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, it shall not be inhabited. We just read that, man, in Isaiah 13. But it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. So they're going to be shocked at what happened in this place, man. Put yourselves in array against Babylon around about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. See, they don't see that they're sinning against the Lord. When they do these different side to the children of Israel, making our people believe in a lie. The Lord is mad at that, man. To the point they want to set up a clash with Jake to destroy him. And we know what we know that this is all the Lord's will for 2/3 of our people to be judged. But Esau gonna be judged for judging us, man. So the Lord is not a respecter of persons, man. The Lord is a man of his word, man. This is Revelations 18 and verse 2. It says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. And that's soon to happen. And the hold of every foul spirit and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath, of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. The merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And that's all the nations have got rich off Babylon the Great. And Trump, the DT said that, and he knows that they've been getting over for many years, man. But they also took on the philosophies of Esau, man. Verse 4 says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven. See that? Her sins have reached unto heaven, man. And power hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. And that's finna happen, man. A lot of torment and sorrow finna hit Babylon the Great, man. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And that's why you see DT puffed up, man. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that judgeth her. And this is the will of the Lord, man. This is the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. Dropping down to verse 17, it says, For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, are far off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning. So the mother nations that made good trades and made good money off this place are gonna see the smoke of her burning, and they're gonna wail, man. It says, saying, what city is like unto her? It's like, what city is like unto this great city? And they casted dust on their heads. and crying and slacking and cried, wailing and slacking and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, at last, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour she is made desolate, man. 1 hour, man. 20, it says, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for power hath avenged you on her. And that's the controversy of Zion, man. For what you did to the Lord's temple, man. So Lord willing, was that if I'm in it there. Shalom. Shalom.